Almost forgot to hit the thing.
You're always on top of it, Tommy.
Hey guys, welcome to Save Continue Podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. I'm back. My name's Shanae Howard.
I'm back.
This is Tommy Shelby.
I'm back.
You've never left.
Yeah.
This is Ryan Robinson.
Hello, my name is Ryan Robinson.
And how are you guys?
I'm pretty excellent. I've got the next 4 days off.
Nice.
Feels good.
Yeah, man.
Gonna chill.
Yep.
Play some fighting games.
Yep. Tuesday's fighting game day.
Yeah, we've been holding on to that for a while now.
It's gonna come to an end pretty soon.
It's
but
nice to have a regular fighting day.
yeah, we're gonna have to change the day, Tom.
That's okay.
But it is.
We'll manage.
I'm getting a new schedule next month in like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Uh-oh.
I'll be 11:30 to 8:30 now, so maybe after work, if y'all are doing fighting game night, I can still make it and like hang out.
Oh, no,
No.
we're done by that time.
We're done when the sun's still up.
Especially with school starting up on Monday.
Yeah.
I got to be home for these kids,
Yeah.
Make some dinners.
Yeah.
You know
I'll
what
play
dads are?
Well, I'm saying you play fighting games after the kids have dinner.
That's true.
That is also true. When we have fighting game, because we alternate between my house and here. And so when we're at my house, we kind of have to cut it short because Tom has to come home. But if we're here, then Tom can play as much as he wants.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Just Uber Eats your kids some McDonald's while you're at Ryan's house.
I guess I could do that, but I think they want an adult to be there.
yeah,
I mean, they probably want to spend time with you, but that's kind of their problem, not yours. You have fighting games to play.
That's true. I do.
I've been doing Uber Eats as kind of a way to earn money while I wait for my new job to start.
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool is watching the amount of dollars I've earned go up. And I'm like, man, I could buy a new game with this.
Yeah.
And it's a cool thing to know. Like a couple hours of work, I got myself a new game.
Sure.
Nice.
But I've had some stinkers as far as deliveries are concerned.
Do they want you to leave the food out on the door and then not knock on it?
So
Because you do that.
well, it's not. First of all, that's not that weird.
Okay.
There was one, actually, it's funny because someone did actually ask me to do that, but it was ice cream and it was like 1:00 in the afternoon and it was like 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, we're in Texas and like every day in the summer is 100 degrees.
Yeah.
I think lately it's been like, 110?
Well, the past 2 days have been quite nice, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if quite nice is the word, so I'd use it.
I had to go to the,
balls.
Compared to what it has been.
I had to go to the most disgusting motel I have ever seen.
Nice.
Hourly
Hourly rates?
Yes, I think.
That's how you know the prostitutes are there.
There was mold everywhere, and that was real gross.
Yeah.
So it smelled really bad in there.
How long did you have to stay there?
Long enough to drop the food off.
Oof.
Well,
So
Yeah, so obviously I wasn't here for last episode, but did y'all talk about games you've been playing?
We did,
We
yes.
did, but you weren't here, so we'd love to hear what games you've been playing.
So I've put in some more time to Red Dead Redemption.
Hell yeah!
I've got,
Last week I referred to that game as a masterpiece.
yeah. So once I get to chapter 2, and like, and I like didn't have to necessarily follow the storyline as like hard.
yeah.
Yeah,
I've just gone off and seen what I could do.
sure.
Fuck the storyline. I don't care what's going on. I don't
Yeah.
care about these missions. I'm just gonna
Make your own story.
Yeah,
do that.
Hi,
Touch her-
Arthur.
touch her world.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. I don't know what's going on in the story. It's been hours and hours since I've paid
That
attention
always
to that.
happens to me with GTA games. I'll start off going through the story, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go play some tennis.
Sure.
You know?
That's funny because I'm like that's what I hear everyone say about like those games, and I'm the exact opposite.
Well, for me, they're more streamlined games.
Yeah.
Like Bully, I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But like all the other stuff, I'm just like, there's too much to do, and I want to go do it.
Am I misremembering that they announced a sequel to that game?
Yes.
I'm
There's been a
misremembering.
rumored sequel for a long time, but I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
I saw Ori's coming to the Switch, so I'm kind of excited about that. Trying to think what else. I haven't really been playing.
Your best friend Jeff Keighley's going to be in Death Stranding.
Strand on your feet.
Yeah, so he's there.
Is he
how do
a
you feel
baby?
about that? No, he's not a bridge baby. He seems to be some sort of shopkeeper.
Tom,
I'm gonna wreck that shop.
I think that Jeff Keighley is Shanae Howard's No Man's Sky.
Sure.
What do you mean by that?
You heard that a bunch of people didn't like him, so that you don't like him.
Yeah.
I also just had to listen to a lot of commercials that he was on at my time there.
Sure.
And I'm just tired of his.
Excuse the guy from making a buck.
Well, it's not his voice in the game.
Okay.
Just his
Likeness?
His visage.
Yeah, I'm still gonna wreck that shop.
Okay.
They have to let you.
I hope Jeff Keighley can kill you.
He can kill you.
Yeah. And then he gives you a game award for
Sure. He gives you a
most
Keighley.
hilarious death.
Yeah.
All right. Do I get money with that award?
I don't know.
I don't want it then. When does the Death Stranding come out again? Or when are they're saying like the general time frame?
I don't remember, but
It's
like
this year.
it's this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've been good about it, but I'll just say this one sentence. It's crunch time, so I'm getting just a lot of wedding stuff done right now.
Okay.
That's cool.
Wedding Crunch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wedding Crunchers.
Wedding Crunch sounds like a cereal I want.
I don't think I'd want that cereal.
Well, what would the cereal pieces look like?
Diamonds.
Well, there'd be different
Oh.
shapes, marshmallows. Like
Oh, I guess the
you
O's
get a
would be the
ring
rings.
marshmallow.
Uh-huh.
You get a cake marshmallow.
Uh-huh.
You get a bouquet marshmallow.
Uh-huh.
That's really detailed for a
you get-
cereal.
No, dude, there's all kinds of marshmallows.
Yeah.
You ever eat Lucky Charms? I mean, shit, that's
Those
like
aren't very detailed though.
Heart
what are you
stars
trying
and
to do here?
horseshoes, clovers and blue moons, pots of golden
golden
rainbows, and
the
a red balloon.
I just feel like a bouquet would be really hard to make in marshmallow form in mass production.
You ever seen a red balloon marshmallow?
Yeah.
It's the same marshmallow with different colors on it. Boom. So, also the back of the box would have a prenup you can fill out.
Sure.
Surely fill out that prenup.
I mean, I feel like that's divorceos. Like what?
Divorceos.
Wedding crunch.
Divorceos sounds more like a Chef Boyardee canned pasta
Yeah.
than a
Divorceos. So that's what you're eating
yeah.
in your apartment after the divorce
Right.
because your ex got the house.
Yeah,
'Cause
you're
there
right.
was no
Prenup
prenup.
wouldn't make sense.
Yeah,
for
because
that.
you didn't sign the prenup on the back of Wedding Crunch.
Yeah.
So now you're living in your apartment eating divorceos.
Right.
So
Yeah, we should make food.
yeah, I think
Someone
we
should
should make.
hire us for
Honestly, I
that.
think we should make movies. I think we'd be good at that.
Now I'm a terrible storyteller.
Oh. Anyway,
I'd like to act,
Uh,
but that ship has sailed.
what are you talking about?
I'm too old for that.
You're not too old.
well,
I think you can. If you want to do something, you're never too old to accomplish it.
they
That's
always,
some bullshit.
they always
So-
need corpses on NCIS and Law and Order. So
Yeah.
you
See,
could do
Tom. There you go, buddy.
That reminds me of the Always Sunny episode where Deandra had to be a corpse, and she was really bad at playing a corpse.
that. I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, because M. Night was making a movie, and she was an extra.
Did you think it was M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah, well, it was.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fun. But this week, we wanted to talk about, I am blinking so hard.
You'll get it. I'm gonna give you a couple seconds.
Oh,
Okay.
games with good concepts, but terrible execution.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Thanks, brain.
Sure.
Way to kick in there.
So what jumps to mind for me there is there is a series that I love dearly
Mm-hmm.
called EDF.
Oh yeah, Earth Defense Force.
And the great thing about these games is they've always been janky, right?
Mm-hmm. That's part of the charm.
The graphics have never been great. Even the new ones look like PS2 games,
That's.
right?
I feel like that's what makes it more fun.
But it's tons of bugs, and you just have fun killing these bugs. But there are two EDF games that were made by different studios. One was Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon, which was last generation, and one is Earth Defense Force Iron Rain, which is the most recent Earth Defense Force game, made by Western Studios. And the concept with these Earth Defense Force games, at least what it seems like the concept is let's take these awesome games, right? Mm-hmm. And let's make them not so silly. Let's make them a little more serious.
I don't want that.
And let's put a nice shine on them and make them look great, right? And they succeed in making these the best looking Earth Defense Force games, but in that they cannot deliver on the amount of bugs.
Sure, we want
and the fun.
Yeah,
you know.
I want like bugs from like the floor to ceiling. I want too many bugs.
Right. So they're just less fun games.
Yeah.
And they're still fun. You're still shooting bugs. They're not
as many bugs.
Right. They're not as good. And then another one that jumps to mind was a dollar bin purchase of mine when Hollywood Video was going out of business. Mm-hmm. I picked up a game called Mind Jack.
Oh yeah, me you.
Yeah, and Mind Jack is an interesting concept in that you can jack into people's minds, Shanae, and control them. Right?
That was a PS3 game, right?
Yes, and Xbox 360, right?
Yeah.
And like, I think it's a cool concept. You could probably come up with some clever missions with that sort of thing, right? Yeah.
But they don't.
But like the acting and writing is really bad. The gameplay is really bad. It's just like, it's one of the worst games I've ever played. Like literally one of the worst games I've ever played. Not worth the $1 I spent on it.
Sure.
But like, it seems like that's what Watch Dogs is going for. Even though you're not mind-jacking, you know?
You're cyberjacking.
You play as any of these people, right?
Or the Legion?
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a better execution on the premise.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring up Watch Dogs because they sold it and they originally like pushed it out as the game's going to be 100% about hacking. You can do all these crazy things.
Sure.
And you're going to have so much variety in like how you want to be a hacker.
Well, because the city's all connected, you see.
Sure. The CTOS.
Yeah, and I just feel like, and I felt like they built up this like incredible hacking game, and when I played it, I was like, oh, this feels like Infamous or like Grand Theft Auto. It doesn't really feel like.
Don't compare that to Infamous. Don't you ever.
You don't like Aiden Pierce?
No, I don't like his jacket's model.
Sure. Well, there's more than one jacket you can get, Tom. Like
the jacket that you always see.
Yeah.
Aiden Pierce wearing. Whoever made that did a poor job.
Okay.
Yeah. Side note, like, because that just reminds me. So, like, Hulu and Levi's like teamed up and like sent out to like
Levi's, like the blue jeans.
Yeah. So they made like Levi's made Handmaid's Tale like denim jackets, like for the show The Handmaid's Tale, and like
there's a lot of denim jackets in that show.
There are some, yes, they exist. Not in Canada, not like in I forget the place is called Goliad. But yeah, so they made like denim jackets and like sent them out to like specific people. Like if you had a certain timestamp when you were watching it at a certain day, then like you got picked to like get this jacket sent to you.
Cool.
And like people were like losing their
swag.
Shit. Yeah, people were losing their shit because like I love this show and I didn't get a jacket and I'm like.
Oh, we didn't all get it, so it's not swag, I guess.
No, it's not. Not everybody got it, but it's a really, really, really fucking ugly jacket. It's like paint splatters and like Fight the Revolution and like white chalk on the jacket like multiple times, and I'm like, why would anybody want this? It's ugly. It's so ugly. A lot of swag like jackets I think are actually really ugly.
Sure.
Like when they're like video, I remember like the Infamous jacket became like a thing that you could get, or like when in
which Infamous jacket?
Aiden's, the one that you hate.
That's Watch Dogs.
Not Watch Dog. Infamous. There's like a jacket, like maybe it's
Nelson?
Infamous 2 that has like the yellow and black on it.
Yeah, that's Cole.
Yeah. Cole McGrath.
Yeah, so that one like
McGrath's
became
brother.
something that you can like buy and purchase, and people
That's
were like,
not an ugly jacket.
I think. Did you ever
It's
see
just
it?
not your style.
It just like looked super cheap and like it cracked super easy. Anybody I saw that had it, I was like, ugh.
Okay, I get you.
Why are we talking about jackets?
Speaking of merchandise, sweet merchandise.
Yeah.
I hate Funko Pops, but I saw a Prison Mike Funko Pop, and I almost got it for you.
Oh man, that's real good.
Yeah, I'm not.
I forgot about your Prison Mike game.
Because now I just associate you with Prison Mike.
I'm okay with that because it's just Azkaban. I forgot that when he describes prison, the only prison he can think of is Azkaban from Harry Potter.
Sure.
So you did just let me make a Harry Potter game. But yeah, no. But back to like the actual topic. I think Watch Dogs is an amazing concept. I think it's poor execution. I don't think it's a terrible.
Did you play that game?
I played like 7 hours in that game.
Okay, that's more than I played it.
I'll tell you this much. I played the first Watch Dogs in its entirety.
Mm-hmm. You were a strong defender of that game.
How much of a hacker did you feel in that game?
I mean, look, I'm changing traffic lights with my goddamn phone.
Sure.
All right? You got cops on my tail. I'll raise those thingies up. They crash right into them. Now, if that ain't hacking, Shanae, shit, I don't know what is.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard.
Yeah. I think that the problem with Watch Dogs is not in the simplicity of its hacking, but in the lameness of its protagonist.
You've said good things about that protagonist on this very show.
He is a lame dude. I'm not going to say that he's not. I don't think Aiden Pierce is a badass, but I think that he's the kind of lame dude. Because he's just over the top with his like edgelord garbage. And it's just funny to me.
I mean, I know nothing about him.
And he just so obviously vapes. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I bet he does like vape tricks.
Yeah, sweet plumes.
Yeah, he's a cloud chaser. That's what they call him.
Oh, yeah. Do they really?
Yeah.
That's terrible. I hate that. I wish you didn't tell me that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I also heard that he was MySpace royalty.
Ah, yes.
I mean, when you're a hacker, of course you can be MySpace royalty, right?
Sure.
Because you can just make everybody your friend.
Facts.
Oh, man.
You should play Watch Dogs 2, though. That's a much better game.
I think Borderlands as a series is good concept, but poor execution.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest gripe with Borderlands is the writing and the side quests.
I just think...
Are you including just like the mainline games that are out, like 1 and 2? Or are you including, and like the prequel? Or are you including like the Handsome Jack part?
Handsome Jack is a collection of those games. You're talking about Borderlands, Tales from the Borderlands, which is a Telltale game.
That's what I was thinking about.
Which has significantly better writing, also significantly different writers.
Yeah. So I think specifically the pre-sequel is a great concept with poor execution. But also, here's the thing, is I think that it's a bad idea to write referential internet humor in your video game that you're developing. Like, because all your jokes are dated by the time the game comes out.
Yeah, we've brought that up for sure. To be fair, I do think Anthony Birch is a good writer.
Yeah.
I just do not think that
good writers can make bad stuff sometimes.
Well written.
Yeah.
Yeah, I normally am the one that defends those games. But yeah, like I've said before, like especially Borderlands 1 does not have a story unless like you read other stuff around it. Like you don't know who these people are or why you should give a shit about them.
Yeah.
Granted, you don't necessarily need that in a game, but in an RPG, it is kind of important. I mean, granted, it's like a FPS RPG, but still.
Yeah. I mean, but like the concept of having a first-person Diablo is cool, you know? But like when the whole hook to your game is get loot and go kill things with your friends and get more loot, make that loot matter.
Yeah.
And it very quickly does not matter.
Yeah.
You're doing side quests that you don't give a shit about. Even the main quests, I didn't give a shit about personally.
Right.
I played through Borderlands 2 start to finish 3 times. I couldn't tell you what that game's about.
Yeah.
I can't. You know?
You can't tell us how you feel about that claptrap.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like 13-year-old Tom would have loved Borderlands.
Well, but like all the side quests are it's just silliness for the sake of silliness.
Yeah.
And
I'm down for that.
I don't know.
I'm down for that when that silliness is actually silly.
Yeah.
But like I don't know who finds that game genuinely funny over the age of 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And like I love Freddy Got Fingered. I don't need this highbrow humor, you know.
It's a great movie.
But like yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a bad franchise and you're dumb for liking it.
Okay.
I feel like this episode, like the premise for this episode is going to turn into us just shitting all over games.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, man.
I'm down for that.
Is that everybody, okay, opinions are like assholes.
Yeah.
Borderlands is full of them.
Yeah.
Okay? And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't enjoy Borderlands. I do. But here's the thing is that, like, so one of my things that I really enjoy, and I think that a lot of my problem with Borderlands personally is the writing, especially because one of my things that I like is things that aren't supposed to be funny but are. I love that shit. What I hate is things that are supposed to be funny and just fucking aren't.
Right.
And it's just Borderlands is just full of that. And like, granted, yes, I can tune that out if I want to, but it sucks that I gotta. Because I got friends who want to go through Borderlands with me, but I gotta listen to all that garbage. I listen to the Hands of Jack's garbage.
And I had fun playing Borderlands 2.
Yeah, but
because I was playing with friends.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that there's a lot, like, on a conceptual level, there's a lot to like about what Borderlands is. But in practice, it just seems like it doesn't necessarily live up to the potential of a premise like that. Maybe Borderlands 3 will, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
That being said, I'll still play it.
Yeah. As far as I did laugh a lot when I was playing Borderlands 1 and 2, but I also was playing with other people, and I do feel like, if I remember correctly, that like a lot of things I laughed at were things that like we made happen.
Right.
Which, like, it's fine for like the kind of game that it is. I don't need necessarily amazing writing on that because of like how I'm playing it.
That's called making your own fun.
Yeah, I've done that once.
But like, it's like when you go to like, it's like when you go to one of those restaurants where it's like you have to.
I know what you're gonna say.
Food,
I hate that shit.
Where you got to make your own food.
I hate it.
But you got to make your own food. You paid $60 for Borderlands. You make the fun.
Yeah.
No, fuck that. You make the fun for me.
Yeah.
I paid for you to make the fun. You know.
I'm just saying, like, Call of Duty has some games in their series that have very poor writing.
Yes.
And people still enjoy those games, and that's valid.
Yes.
Counterpoint. I once went into a Call of Duty match where they had invented a game type called Michael Myers because they didn't like the game type that was already in the game.
But for Call of Duty, I can point to like probably the best console first-person controls.
Without a doubt.
For Borderlands, I can't point to that with anything.
Sure. Well, because like it's a game that wants you to also like, because it's using RPG elements in a first-person shooter infrastructure, right? Because you also like a big thing about RPGs is how many different numbers are attached to different things, and then one of those numbers is accuracy,
right?
And so it's kind of hard to feel like a game feels like a shooter feels like really tight and tuned in when you have just like these wildly varying degrees of accuracy with all these weapons. I get it; some guns are more accurate than others, even in the real world.
Right.
But that's not what I want. That's in my video games. All guns are accurate.
Well, and the numbers in Borderlands are meaningless for the most part. You know.
Yeah, because everything scales up with you.
Everything scales up with you, and I find that, like in Borderlands 2 especially, I found that like halfway through the game, I found a set and I never changed it again. And I did not have difficulty finishing that game, you know?
I'd like to move on to the next game.
Please.
Mercenaries 2, World in Flames.
I never played it.
Never played it.
But man, that stupid jingle from the commercial still gets stuck in my head.
What was it?
I'm not going to do it.
I don't remember.
There is a little ditty for the Mercenaries 2 commercial.
Like, it was like made specifically, or it's like from a song?
No, it's specifically for that game.
Okay.
Oh, I really want to know what this is now.
So the first game, Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction, fan-fucking-tastic game. I goddamn love that game. So the core conceit of Mercenaries 2 World in Flames is they change the location, increase the scale, and now you can play cooperatively with a friend. That sounds really cool, except for the fact that it's really not. And like every part of Mercenaries 2 World in Flames is just this weirdly broken mess that I just did not understand. I didn't understand how this game came out so fucked up.
Yeah.
And the most noteworthy addition to that game, the cooperative multiplayer, nothing felt cooperative about it. Like, sure, you guys could be in like the same vehicle, right? But like if I was just, let's say you're driving the car and I'm the passenger, I can't shoot out of the car or nothing.
Yeah.
I can't do anything. I can just sit there, and it's just like,
even in Double Dash, when you're both on the car, the person can do something.
Double Dash has better cooperative driving than Mercenaries 2.
Oh yeah, but Double Dash is also a flawless game.
Sure.
Flawless.
But
story magical.
But it's just like, there's like, for example, like everything that game is broken to the point where there is no weapon in that game that is more powerful than your character's ability to just go up to the person and hit them with the butt of the rifle. They will take 4 bullets to die, but 1 rifle butt hit to die. And increasing the scale is a really great idea, except for the fact that it means that everything else around that just performs worse.
Yeah.
And where if they had kept the scale to be the same as the map in Playground of Destruction, they could have put more in that smaller space and had that game running better than its sequel. It's just everything about that. It's so disappointing, because if you're telling me that you're upping the ante of the game with the most explosions in a video game that I've ever fucking seen, and you somehow fuck that up, I just don't get it. The core concept was more explosions, and they
it's kind of like how Red Faction kind of like pulled back on all the destructibility stuff.
Yeah.
Because like that's what people loved Guerrilla for,
Yeah. And at the time, and I haven't played Guerrilla since it came out. I haven't played Remastered, so I don't know how that game holds up.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Man, that's cool.
It's still great.
Yeah. Okay, good. But at the same time, like, I felt like what Volition was doing with Red Faction was they were scaling up, but the quality of it like kind of scaled with it.
Yeah.
Whereas like, yeah, Mercenaries 2 it does technically look better than its predecessor, which it should, because the games are a generation apart. But at the same time, like everything else about the game mechanically was just worse.
It's not as fun. Yeah. It's prettier, but it's not as fun.
Yeah, and it's just, and like it would have like, it just, all the things that they put in the game served to only make the game worse.
Sure.
And so like on paper that game should be fantastic, and it just sucks. And that's a bummer. And I get worked up about it every time I think of it. One of the reasons I get worked up about it, I don't know why this bothers me so goddamn much, because I hated that game, but I had a cousin who stole that game from me, and I can't prove it, but I know he did it. If you're watching this,
you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. I don't even want the game back. It's not about the game. It's just, it's the principle of the thing.
I can definitely think of a lot of games though, like
they made it look better, but they made the game worse.
Yeah,
and it's just.
So no one seems to have played this game. Like I have not talked to anybody else who's played this game, but Velvet Assassin was a game that I was very much looking forward to. It's a last generation game.
World War II?
Yeah. And like it takes a lot of like very real things about actual female assassins from that time. You don't play as like an actual person, you play as a made up character, but
sure.
like, and the stealth gameplay was a lot of fun, but then like there's these weird sections where you like take this weird drug and like flowers appear everywhere, and it's very, very strange. Totally
take the mirror.
Not good. And then I think last gen was like a lot of the stuff, man. Street Fighter Cross Tekken was like, what a great idea.
That should have been a slam dunk.
Oh, man.
And like it is mechanically as a fighter a fantastic fighting game. But like you put in all these fucking gems. The gem system just ruined it.
All they had to do was leave out the goddamn gems.
And like that's a game that the mechanics saved it as much as it possibly could, right? It appeared at multiple Evos because it was that good of a fighting game.
But the gyms
fuck it all up. And like,
is there an option to turn off the gyms?
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure.
That game would be so good without the gyms.
It's just, yeah. I don't know. What do you guys got?
Oh, I have an itemized list here.
I'll just do a generalized one. We've talked about them a little bit before, but like as a generalization, when they make games, I know they're just cash grabs, like based off movies. They don't seem to do it as often. At least not. Maybe I just don't go into game stores as often.
Licensed games have mostly moved to mobile.
Yeah. So, but like Wanted, I've complained about it before. I just.
So I like Wanted.
That game looked cool.
Like the game was fun. Did you play Wanted? The game was fun, but like
I never played it.
I feel like the movie was the problem. Like you should have just tied it to the comic.
I think here's my issue is like with a lot of these things, like I get that you said cash grab, and like no, I'm not necessarily looking for like most innovative gameplay whenever you are playing a movie game.
Yeah.
But let's use a good example, like Wolverine.
Okay.
That was a really good game.
Yes, it was.
Snicket.
Like what I wish that they would do more often is to not just follow the plot of the movie, and to add more to it. Do it like more of like what's happening on the side, or like altering it to where it's a different experience and not just playing the movie as the game.
You made me think of a great one. The Reservoir Dogs video game is a very bad video game, and it does exactly that. You're playing through all the scenes that they talk about in the movie that you don't see, you know? And man, that is not a good game.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have this property, just do something fun with it.
Yeah. I mean, the best examples of that, though, is when they use the IP and nothing else, like Insomniac Spider-Man. You know, that's their own universe that they crafted. And it shows, you know.
Yeah, like a lot of DS games were like based off like kids movies and stuff like that. Like every like Trolls and all of them got those things. And I just wish like they would do either like before the movie happened or after, if it's like applicable, like have adventures to go along with the movie if you're gonna do that cash grab.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of cool like even like the kids movies. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of cool like just like add more to it.
Well, I don't know. SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom on GBA was actually pretty cool. So good.
They're releasing the rehydrated edition of that game.
That's different though. That's the console version.
It was based off an episode though.
Well, it's based off of a show, Shanae.
You ever seen that show?
Yeah, I've seen that show. I meant like just like follows that episode. There's a lot of movie games that do that. And then I had another game that popped in my head, but I forgot it. What's your itemized list?
Okay, well, let me see here. I wrote them down at home.
I think the Burger King games were a good concept.
Yeah.
Oh, those are fun.
Like the fact that you could go to Burger King and get these games on the cheap.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
But like those were all garbage games.
Yeah.
Pocket Bike is just horrible. How do you play that?
Sneak King was actually pretty good. Evolve. You guys play Evolve? Tom, you played Evolve.
I played a good bit of Evolve. I think Evolve was a good game. I don't think it was poor execution.
I think that Evolve, in my opinion, is it's one of those instances where while the game was technically sound, it was tragically undermined by people who played it. And that's just like, I think that like I think the whole thing is that like with online video games, or online centric video games I should say, what people are apt to do is everybody has their mics on, but no one's gonna say shit. And I'm gonna make myself clear, I'm not saying that this is the fault of the developers at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it's one of those games where it could have been so great, like could have been such a great experience if the, I feel like culture is the wrong word, but it's the word I'm going
Community?
with.
I think
Player
that
base?
Evolve's biggest problem to me, it was one, marketing, and two, when the game released. I think if Evolve released this year, it would be a big success.
Oh yeah, because asynchronous multiplayer is the thing now.
Right. Like, look at how well Friday the 13th did when that game was janky as fuck. You know?
I would say Friday the 13th is objectively a worse game than Evolve.
If they put out Evolve now and they say, here's an asynchronous game, which those are doing well now, right? From the guys who brought you Left 4 Dead, which people have had even longer to miss at this point, I think it would have been a success. But
talking about like online multiplayer games, Homefront.
I played a good bit of the first one.
Not Homefront, Mag. The one where it's
massive action game.
Yeah, the one with like 100 players on the field.
Yeah.
Mag did well.
I don't know anything about Mag. I never played it. I just
Raph
know that
was big into Mag.
I figured he would be.
I played some of Mag because I was like, oh, like it's like 100 people on there, like on the same like
and shooting at each other. That sounds badass.
Yeah, and I was like, that sounds like really actiony and stuff like that.
Years before Battle Royale.
Yeah. Massive action game.
But so a lot of people did not like it. I remember getting a lot of returns on that game. So one of the main things that was like super difficult about that game is so like you could scale up and like levels in this game.
Sure.
And like obviously get better equipment and get better at it, but they didn't have any sort of scaling system. So if you're playing it for the first time and you get on a server and you're like playing the game, like there's bullets and stuff that like come through randomly, so you just get knocked out.
Yep.
That's war, baby.
So you just can't. It's like unless like you got in on it early, it was super hard to get into the game because there's no like just like level 1 to like 5 in this area.
Like it has to be that way though, right? Like a game like that, especially at that time, could not have separate servers for different like ranks or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's presumptuous even now to think that I'm going to release an online game that requires 100 people to be online. Like, it's very presumptuous that your game is just, like, that cool that's going to pull that audience, you know? Especially back then, like, there's no way for them to do servers in that way. Now, maybe they shouldn't have made it to where, like, maybe they should have just had, like, no levels in the game, you know?
Yeah.
Or, like, if you are, like, lower level, grant some immunity to some things.
No. Look, it's war, baby.
There's no funky mode, all right?
Yeah.
This is Mag.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you die, come back, and then instantly get died, come back.
Yeah, you
instantly die, come back to the same game. Like, you're just, it's
well,
hard
look,
to get into.
Some soldiers are more experienced than others, Shanae. That's just war. You know? War never changes.
I mean, war were declared.
Speaking of...
Secret Agent Clank was...
I didn't play that.
Not great.
But, like, it was basically you just played as Clank, right? And
like, you know... You realize when you're playing Secret Agent Clank that, like, the Clank stuff's not as fun as the Ratchet stuff. It's just not.
Yeah, because there's some Clank stuff, like, interspersed throughout the mainline games, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want a whole game of Clank. That's like Oops All Berries.
Which, like, they already had Size Matters. So, like, they could do Ratchet, you know?
Yeah.
Also, Ratchet and Clank games have great titles.
What was
Up Your Arsenal?
Yeah.
They
Going Commando. Kraken Time.
The Prince of Persia game that they made based off the movie.
The one with Jake Gyllenhaal as the titular prince?
Yeah.
I never played it.
The Sands of Time and the other Prince of Persias were good, but then they made one like specifically just to go with the movie.
It's got Jake Gyllenhaal on the cover.
Yeah, and it was just...
As a Persian man.
It was not very good. Not good.
I never played it, so I don't know.
Well, like, you just can't bring yourself to believe that Donnie Darko could do any of those things.
Sure. I mean, he's held down by that stupid man suit.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, man.
Okay, so.
Did you ever watch the Donnie Darko sequel about his sister?
No, I'm not watching anymore. I'm not watching anything else about the Darko family.
Yeah.
Just keep them the hell out of my house.
Yeah.
They are not invited.
It's just I don't want to get into how much I don't want to talk about Donnie Darko, but
Dee
Bound. So man, when I first saw Bound, I was like, this is a fucking beautiful game. Like I like the idea of it. Then to actually play it, it's just I don't know what that game is exactly. Like I just
It's a visual experience.
Oh, it's a platformer. It's a 3D.
No, I mean what I'm saying is I don't know. Like, on one hand, it's supposed to, like I feel like it's supposed to be this. I don't know. I'm having trouble putting my words together here, but like I just remember feeling like the whole idea, like, because I like games with like unconventional like presentations to them, and at the time I was like, that doesn't get much more unconventional than ballet, than like a ballet platformer, right?
Yeah.
But then to play it, it's not. It's gorgeous to look at, but it's just not fun to play.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because I would love for, because it's a very, like, I think, like, if someone had told me about, like, this is my concept for a game, I was like, that sounds really interesting. But then, like, to actually see it, like, actually put it in practice, just didn't work out as well as I was expecting it. Well, not expecting, but hoping it would. But
worst offender to me is Mighty Number 9.
Well, you've got some personal investment in that.
Yeah, I put money towards it. I waited years for it.
You believed in it.
And like, here's the thing. Mighty Number 9 could have come out from another developer and had no connection to the Mega Man franchise.
And been fine.
And it would have been an okay game.
It would have been inoffensive.
Right. But man, like they under-delivered on promises, right? Like it was supposed to come to Vita, it never did. I have from the week that it was announced, I still have a Facebook message between me and the publisher talking about it coming to Vita.
Right.
Because they're like, hey, we hit that goal, it's going to happen. And at the time, I was super high on Vita, so I was like, yes, it's happening,
Yes.
Super excited. And yeah, what a fucking waste of a fucking game. Like,
I guess I don't know. I'm not intimately familiar with the intricacies of video game publishing.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe you have some insight on this, Tom. If they hit the goal, why didn't the thing happen?
I mean, it never has to happen, right? Like you are told when you crowdfund just about anything.
I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Right. But what I don't get is if you tell me, okay, you need this much money.
It's called lying.
It's called not being able to allocate resources and justify the cost that it would take to make that port.
Yeah.
How can you justify that cost when the game's doing so poorly?
Sure.
But yeah, what a horrible game. And like, I really love Inafune, but like now,
how do you feel about him?
Now I kind of don't love him as much.
Well, you said before that this has kind of ruined you for crowdfunding.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's part of the reason why I pulled funding on Psychonauts 2. I'll just wait and see. And if you can't get the money to make it, then oh well, I guess. I mean, there are certain projects that like I would gladly throw money at, right? Like Project Rap Rabbit. I would give them every penny. I would give them every penny.
That game sounded so cool.
But that game's not going to happen,
That game sounded so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I also had written down Aliens Colonial Marines.
I never played it, but I did hear a lot of complaints.
Let me tell you something, Shanae.
Ryan bought 2 of those.
I bought 2 copies of that goddamn game.
Why?
I'll tell you why. What I was expecting was to have a really good time surviving alien onslaughts with my friend Jimmy.
Was it Street Fighter Tekken that I bought for you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought 2 copies of that game day one.
Yeah.
One for me, one for him.
Yeah. Why would you buy 2 before you even play it?
Because we were hyped. Plus, you don't know how it was living.
Yeah. Shanae, don't act like you didn't buy something. You've never bought 2 games for you and a friend before you played it. If you haven't, then I feel bad for you not knowing what that kind of friendship feels like.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
I haven't, and I have no friends, so.
I will say this.
Feel bad.
I will say this. That has only backfired on me one time. I've done it 3 times. It's only backfired on me once.
1 out of 3 isn't bad.
4 times. No, I've done it 4 times. Anyway, irrelevant. So, like you tell me that I'm gonna like the concept sounds cool, right? Like I'm a colonial marine. I'm just gonna be living in aliens.
Well, we've had that concept so many times already.
But I'm doing it with my fucking friends on the internet, Tom. That's the thing.
He's on the internet, Tom.
It was good once.
It could have been good again. It could have been beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I was like, you tell me cooperative multiplayer? Check. Pulse rifles? Check.
Aliens?
Xenomorphs? Fucking check.
Yeah.
They were in there all right.
Well, what's funny
Is
is
it-
the sad thing about that game is it was discovered earlier this year that game had some sort of glitch
Yes.
that caused the AI to act in the way that it did. I'm not saying that it would have been great otherwise.
It
but
would
like,
have been better.
It may have been great.
Because like they just
Yeah.
that was the thing too, right? Is that was kind of part of what I was expecting was that like having to outsmart them in some way, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was starting to have to come up with like work with my friends to come up with tactics to beat them, right? But they all just run at you.
Yeah.
Like just endlessly, they just run at you. And it was just so immediately underwhelming, and it was deflating because like you're a fan of this franchise and you have a game that you believe is going to let you like you know, and at the highest resolution at the time relive or inhabit one of your favorite movies of all time, and then it just is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
That does suck.
Rising Thunder, Fantasy Strike,
Yeah.
and Blade Strangers. Great idea.
Uh-huh.
Let's try to make fighting games more welcoming to people who are bad at fighting games.
Yeah.
Suck.
Bad execution in that, like, if you're not good at the game, if you're not good at fighting games, and you play somebody who is good at fighting games in any of those three games, whether you know how to execute these moves or not, you're still going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So you've completely failed at your one goal, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm just gonna throw this in there, ring on there. I remember what I was gonna say earlier. Dead Island.
I didn't like Dead Island, but a lot of people really did.
I think that the concept was good. I'm just gonna use the same complaint that I always have against that game. At some, like, I know, like, because it's supposed to be an island, like, that ammo is supposed to be scarce, and so I was like, oh, that's a cool concept because it's gonna force you to be a little more creative with the deaths, and
Yeah.
like it's gonna feel like more high stakes because like you have to like really conserve on that ammo. But then when I just end up just curb stomping every fucking zombie and like.
Well, that's how you keep them down, Shanae.
And like that's all I do the entire game. It makes it not fun. Like once you find one way that works, like you're not incentivized or have any reason to find any other way, especially when no other way works as well.
Sure.
And it just got annoying. I thought it was a really cool concept to do a like really tight like zombie game where you're like stuck there with them and you can't really
You're locked in here with me.
Yeah.
yeah. And I thought that was fun, and I thought it'd be like a lot more enjoyable than like some like other zombie games at the time because I was like, oh, it's like a different kind of take on it. So, and it wasn't
Yeah.
what I want it to be.
I will say, I feel like Dead Island was different than a lot of zombie games that had come out.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that
I just still don't think
It wasn't for me.
I don't
but
think- I don't
it
think it
was
was
quite
as-
successful.
I don't think it was as fun as the other zombie
Yeah,
games,
yeah.
and like I think it could have been easily.
I mean, it's no Left 4 Dead, that's for sure.
100%.
But
like Left 4 Dead has a simplicity to it, you know.
just a beautiful.
It's
It's just
Mirror's Edge Catalyst really made me sad.
yeah. I'd always wondered like because I love the first game,
Yeah, the first Mirror's Edge is fantastic.
and so like what is is Catalyst just more of the same or
Catalyst, what sucks about Catalyst is like it could have been so great had they not felt the need to make it an open world game.
oh, it's an open world game,
Right. And with it being an open world game, you as the level designer don't really know what direction the player is going
Sure.
to go in.
Sure,
So you have to try to make every direction fun, and that's not possible.
right.
Right? So like whereas the original Mirror's Edge, it's extremely linear.
I feel
you
like
know every player's going this way, so you can make it super
The game
fun.
makes more sense as like self-contained levels,
right.
I think.
So that was a big problem. What I will say that was way better than the first Mirror's Edge is that it no longer had the really bad Esurance fucking cutscenes. Like the cutscenes for the first Mirror's Edge look like an Esurance commercial.
Yeah, I remember that.
But
I still have my messenger bag from pre-ordering the first game.
But yeah, so that was sad. And it's still fun. Like there are still good things in that game, but like overall, don't ever make that open world. Like it's like not Dead Island. What's the other one? Dying Light.
Yeah.
Right? So like Dying Light has the, parkour elements to it, but like that's just one element of that game. It's not the whole game.
Right.
So it doesn't really hurt it when you have to kind of like jank your way up a wall.
Sure.
But
when that's the whole game,
right,
then it's really different.
Yeah.
Just kind of want to put this out there. It's the opposite of what the topic is. Like I thought it was like when someone explained it to me, I was like, that sounds okay. But it ended up being like amazing execution. Limbo.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Baba Is You.
You thought Baba Is You sounded okay, should I?
No, Baba Is You sounded fun. But yeah, I was just like, oh, it's like you're like a little boy and like everything's like dark and like you just like do like puzzles trying to get out of limbo. And I was like, okay.
What Playdead did with Limbo was pretty revolutionary at the time. I don't think Limbo holds up very well. I think Inside is still fantastic and better than any other game in that genre. Like it's to me better than Little Nightmares for sure.
Okay.
But yeah.
Let me see if I have anything else on here. I want to make sure I got to all of them.
There's like, and then another generalized kind of statement. There is just, I think maybe because a lot of them are just end up being ports from mobile games or because they are mobile games. Just so many tell me is that I'm like, oh, that's like a really fun concept of like why you would have different love interests and why you would be like what that situation is. And then it's just garbage and terrible writing. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think, well, it's just like the fucking Mirror's Edge thing, right? When your whole game depends on this one thing, and in Otomi's that one thing is typically writing,
Yeah.
Well, there's some like the writing is good, but like there'll be like bugs or glitches in the game where you just can't get past a part. And it's like, all right, well, then I'm glad I played to this part and I have to start over and hopefully this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, love is like that sometimes, Shanae. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way you expect it to. And sometimes you don't know why.
But my affection points were all the way up.
Duke Nukem Forever.
That
Could have been good.
Yeah, it very well could have been. It's just that, like,
It was a good idea, I think.
yeah. It's just too much. I don't know. It just, man, that game was painful to play, though.
Yeah.
So I never really got into the Duke Nukem franchise.
Dude Nukem.
Dude Nukem.
Chuck Suckum.
Yeah, Chuck Suckum. That's the better game. That's the game you want to play.
Yeah.
I don't know. But from what I've seen, like Duke Nukem Forever, they're like, oh, we want it to feel like the old Duke Nukem games. Like,
it does not.
So my question is, why exactly does it not feel like the old games?
I don't know. Like
what,
I don't think that, like, it's weird, right? Because you want to bring back this franchise and you want it to feel like it used to feel, right? But you're doing it at a time when that's not in vogue anymore, right? Like, when that game came out, throwback games were not doing well like they are now, Yeah. And so because of that, they're like, well, we're going to try to make it feel like the old Duke Nukems, but we're going to try to make it look like a modern game, even though we had to scrap it, and now it looks like dated even for today's standards.
Yeah.
So it just didn't work out well. Had they like today, right? Like, let's say tomorrow they release a new Duke Nukem, which they kind of did this on last gen consoles. Let's say they release a new Duke Nukem tomorrow, and it's like Ion Maiden, right?
Yeah.
Like, it would do fucking fantastic,
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're not going to do that.
It's just that, so Duke Nukem isn't like, he's not a timeless character, right?
No, he is not.
No, that is very...
So, and he doesn't have the luxury of just being like, you can't just put him in a new game like you can like with Mario or whatever, because it's like, because he's
Shake it, Mario.
Yeah, he's got
He's very crude.
Which still could have worked for him, but it's just that like, when you take a character like that, you have to think very carefully about how, like about how you're going to implement him into a video game. And I just don't. I think that if they had just given me a new, like Tom said, if they had just given me like a new Duke Nukem 3D,
which they kind of did.
They
with that
kind of
last
did,
episode,
but it's just like,
and that did well. That probably did better than Duke Nukem Forever did.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's a guy.
He's a very dated man.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
We should get him on the show sometime.
Yeah. Shanae, would you mind dressing up like that, like Duke Nukem?
I would.
That'd be so
be
fucking
honored.
funny. Like
I would be honored.
Your skinny fucking arms.
With the flat top wig with her hair sticking out under it.
The glasses.
Oh, this looks like.
Oh, man. It'd be easy to pull off, too.
Yeah.
I would just look like Billy Ray Cyrus if I tried to do his
Yeah, no one
flat
would
top
know what you were supposed to be.
No, they know because she'd wear the suspenders with the shells in them.
Sure.
And
yeah, like Billy Ray Cyrus.
And the atomic symbol belt buckle. And you have the red tank top. And you say, "Shake it, baby."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of gum.
Yeah. I had another one on here, but I don't really want to talk about it because it's just, I don't feel the need to bring it up. But, look, making video games is hard, but at the same time, I want to have a good time playing them, and good concepts I think deserve to be realized to their fullest potential. And it sucks when those come at odds with creative choices made during development that make them not as cool to play.
Or monetary confinements and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I guess like I've said many times that sometimes there are decisions being made by people who know a lot more about this shit than I do for reasons that I guess I just don't understand.
I think also like a lot of people on podcasts and video game sites are afraid to say it, but like some people are bad at making video games.
Some people are bad at it.
Like that happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can be bad at stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same point, like, obviously we love this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, like Gearbox.
Mm-hmm. They make bad video games. Those people make bad fucking video games.
Don't give me that look today. Oh my god.
If Borderlands 3, it's not gonna tank. So I don't know.
No, it's not gonna tank. It's gonna do great.
But
if it did, I don't know where they would go.
I'm happy for people.
So what about
to
Army
enjoy
of Brothers? They're Gearbox.
Games. What?
Army of Brothers?
Or what is it? What
Band
did they
of Brothers?
No, what did they make before
Army of Brothers?
Borderlands?
Well, they worked on a couple of Half-Life side games.
I
know what games you're talking about.
Battleborn after Borderlands.
She's talking about this squad-based World War II game that escapes me. I have to look it up. Now
Brothers in Arms?
Yeah, there you
go.
They made that?
Yeah.
They did.
Well, that wasn't good either.
I didn't play that
Hell's
one.
Highway. Fuck you, dude.
Gearbox makes bad video games.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's face it.
I'm just going to disagree.
Let's face it.
I'm facing nothing.
which, it is what it is.
It's fine. Like, Shanae, most people agree with you on this. Like, most people do not agree with me. When
I'm just saying, like, I'm just going to stand my ground.
People love Borderlands, so that's fine.
We can be wrong, I guess.
Yeah.
Take away Borderlands, and what has Gearbox got?
My love.
Then you're a fool.
Years of working for Blizzard.
No woman should love Randy Pitchford.
Yeah. You should never fall in love with a magician.
Yeah.
That's going to end badly for you.
Sure. Yeah. Alakazam.
I'm just imagining breaking up with a magician and him just like abracadabra and like spoke, and then he just disappears and never shows up again.
Man, that'd be so fucking rad. Like Batman.
Yeah. He does that thing where you turn away from him and then he's gone and you don't know where he went. It's not magic. He's just a ninja.
Sure.
In the show.
So yeah, that was our episode today.
Wait. No game?
No, I don't have a game today.
Okay.
Unless we have.
Ryan, you make a game. Make a game right now.
Okay.
Give us a Ryan game.
Okay.
We haven't had a Ryan game in a long time. Give us a Ryan game.
Okay. For $1 million.
I'm listening.
Okay. No, I don't know. I like.
Would you rather?
My games are always would you rather's.
Okay, give us a would you would you rather, but games related.
Shit. Okay. Would you no, I don't. I got nothing.
All right, it's fine.
I got nothing.
To be continued, I guess.
Yeah, to be safe.
Would you rather make out with Randy Pitchford or Jeff Keighley?
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff
all
Keighley,
day.
all day. Not even.
He's more attractive. He's a better human being.
Yeah, yeah. And I bet Jeff Keighley would be able to make better video games.
Jeff Keighley
and he'll take care of you too.
Hideo Kojima.
Oh, Kojima for sure.
Yeah, absolutely Kojima.
Yeah.
And he'd probably want to do weird stuff with you too.
Yeah, too. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You'd put on some good music while he's doing it.
Yeah.
Kojima or I can't remember his real last name now. I keep wanting to call him Malinukes.
Peter Molyneux?
Yeah.
Kojima.
How come he can't name any females?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Because
See, that's more of a problem with the industry. That's something you should address in the next episode, Shanae.
Yeah.
Form a topic around that.
Jade Raymond. Done.
Yeah.
If you
would you rather make out with Jade Raymond or Peter Molyneux?
I don't know. I'd have to like.
Well, I mean, Peter Molyneux would probably hold your hand.
Well, I mean, when I wanted to make out with somebody, I just want to make sure they'll hold my hand the entire time.
Sure.
But not like lace the fingers. I just want like cup to cup.
What?
Huh?
Like when you
cup to cup.
Like when you hold your hand. Like when you hold your hands and like you just like make the C shape and you just like cup them instead of like lacing the fingers.
I see. I understand what you're saying.
I do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us what developer you'd like to make out with.
Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah.
As always, thanks for listening, and you can find us on most podcast apps and YouTubes. And bye, guys.
Later.